Good morning. Welcome to Light for Your Path. Today we are discussing when God feels absent, emptiness. I realize there's something almost ironic about talking about God's absence in a wedding venue, a place designed for celebration. But maybe that's exactly right. Even in spaces made for joy, we sometimes feel empty, and that's okay. I want to start with something we don't hear very often. Sometimes God feels completely absent. Sometimes our prayers feel like they're bouncing off the ceiling. Sometimes the emptiness inside us isn't beautiful or spiritual. It just hurts. Before we go further, if your emptiness feels like despair that won't lift, or if you're having thoughts of harming yourself, please talk to a counselor or trusted friend this week. That's not spiritual emptiness. That's something that requires professional care. Even Jesus himself cried out, my God, why did you forsake me?" on the cross. The Son of God felt abandoned by God the Father. This wasn't pretend. Jesus experienced the full weight of human abandonment and separation from God. He chose this. Philippians 2:7 says he emptied himself, but that doesn't make it less real. Here's the point. When you feel abandoned by God, you're not failing in faith. You're sharing something with Christ himself. The darkness at the cross wasn't just physical, it was spiritual separation. God turned away so that we would never be truly alone in our emptiness. And here's what we can't forget. God raised him from the dead. The abandonment wasn't the end of the story. Resurrection was. Not all emptiness is the same. There's a difference between soil, what we see here that's been cleared for planting, and ground that has been scorched. Destructive emptiness can result from loss, grief, trauma, injustice, and depression. This isn't punishment or a spiritual lesson. Sometimes there's no meaning to find, and it's okay to be angry about it. Sacred emptiness, on the other hand, is when we stop trying to control everything. This can coexist with destructive emptiness. It's not about finding meaning, but finding God's presence, even when nothing makes sense. Ecclesiastes 3:1 and 4 remind us, "To all there is an appointed time, even a time for every purpose under the heavens, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to lament and a time to dance." Sometimes the most faithful thing we can do is admit we don't understand why we're empty, and that's enough. Jesus didn't whisper his cry of abandonment. He shouted it for everyone to hear. Faith doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means bringing out real questions and sometimes even our anger to God. It's okay to question God, even demand answers you might not get. Honesty matters more than positivity in our relationship with God. In fact, God can handle our anger better than our pretending. Even Jonah told God in Jonah 4:9, being angry is right for me. And yet, God didn't strike him down. God kept talking to him. Here's a personal challenge. Stop trying to fix other people's emptiness with Bible verses. Stop trying to fix your own with forced gratitude. When Job lost everything, his friends came and sat with him in silence for 7 days. They didn't speak, they just shared his suffering. It was only when they started talking and trying to explain his pain that they became miserable comforters. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is simply be present for yourself and for others in the not knowing. Here's one simple practice. Each morning this week, write one completely honest sentence to God. Not what you think you should feel, what you actually feel. I'm angry and you let this happen. I feel forgotten. I don't know if I even believe anymore. Fold it up and put it somewhere safe. Now, if this practice brings up overwhelming feelings, please reach out to someone for support. The goal is connection, not isolation. God in heaven, we don't ask you to take away our emptiness. We ask you to meet us in it. Help us stop managing our pain and instead let it connect us to you and each other. Give us permission to be honest about what we're actually experiencing. Through Christ, who felt abandoned and was raised to life. Amen. As we leave this space today, remember, your emptiness does not disqualify you from God's love. Jesus entered our emptiness by his sacrifice and conquered it through resurrection. You're not alone in the dark, even when it feels like you are.